Coaching. We are here again with another fabulous woman, celebrating women in Women Making History Month, and I am talking to women who are actually making history by helping other women, empowering other women. And again, I have a great lady with me, Jodie. Okay, how do you say your last name? Moncrief?
Moncrief?
Moncrief. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So let me introduce Jodie. She is an empowerment facilitator who hosts workshops that help women build their businesses, love themselves, live a life of purpose, and become leaders. She delivers programs that are designed to affect change and growth. She does this by showing us how to love ourselves, control our mind chatter. We all need help with that. And move through our remaining childhood hurt by pinpointing, processing, and eradicating it. Jodie's background includes nonprofit management, event management, fundraising, sales training, certificate in EMF, so electromagnetic field technique, as well as a licensed realtor since 2014. She currently serves as director of the South Orange County Global Society for Female Entrepreneurs. And in 2021, Jodie was the recipient of an International Women's Day Leadership Award, a 100 Women Global Award, an Outstanding Leadership and Dedication Award, and a Kindness Day Award. The causes closest to her heart are abused women, children, and animals. Jodie and her husband both grew up in the beautiful San Diego, California. They each come from small families and have no children, so they put if not all of their energy into friendships and are proud to be the unofficial aunt and uncle of many of their kids' friends. Currently, they reside in Mission Viejo, California, and celebrated 36 years of marriage. Congratulations. And they have 2 cats, Cookie and Comet. Welcome, Jodie, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Yes.
That was a lot. So dive into that a little bit. Tell us a little bit more about who you are.
Well, I'll tell you why I'm doing this, and that's who I am. Why I'm doing this is because I grew up as a latchkey kid. If you don't know what that is, it just means you go run wild. And my parents were divorced. I lived with my father, and I got into drugs and sex and rock and roll, all that when I was younger, had a lot of time on my hands. And I never really had any really good role models. And I didn't have self-confidence, and I didn't know who I was, and I didn't have any value or self-worth. I barely graduated from high school. And I'm proud to say that I'm proud to say that with all my different businesses, I have not had a degree. And not that I'm against degrees. I think they're really important, but I want to show people that you can do something without a formal degree. That's one of the reasons I'm doing what I do. And I began my personal journey into personal development in my late teens, actually, and did a lot of studying and through a lot of different ways, and started doing workshops in my early 30s. And my main thing is to, help people to know their worth. And, you hear loving yourself and you think, loving yourself, oh my God, isn't that a little, too selfish? Or, when you hear that, to really get it, loving yourself has so much to do with setting boundaries. For one, it has to do with, allowing people, training people how to treat you. And when you love yourself, you won't take it from the outside. And it's easy to learn. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars in therapy and, dollars and hours. It's things that you can just pinpoint and process and work through.
That is amazing. And I think that we have similar background of growing up, because I was a latchkey kid. I know what that is.
Okay.
It basically means you have no supervision.
Yep.
And when children and teens have no supervision, they don't always make the wisest of choices. I became a mom at 17, so I did barely graduate high school, and I'm a college dropout. So totally, yeah.
There. And, I mentioned latchkey kid a couple times this past week, and couple people didn't know what it was, so that's why I was kind of reiterating that. But
Okay.
we're fellow latchkey girls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And
Um,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say we are the sum total of our experiences. Whatever we went through, that's who we are. That's how we got our character.
This is so true. And I think you hitting on the thing of loving ourselves, it's not selfish. Just like I talk about, self-care is not selfish. Now, there's overindulgence and stuff, whatever. If you want to do it, I don't care. That's up to you. But taking care of ourselves and doing things that make us feel good about ourselves is important. Even the same thing with our bodies. We're the only ones that have to like our skin. Nobody else has to like it. It's just got to be, are we happy in the skin we're in or not? And what can we do to change it? So I really love that. Did you do anything before the workshops, or how did you come to develop these workshops?
I was in a program for a 1-year program in my early 30s. And one a lady mentored me. And then I've recently had a mentor in a franchise, and I just went out on my own about a year ago. But there's so much healing to be done in the world. There's so much, especially since COVID. And there's so many people out there feeling like something's wrong with them. And you know what? There isn't. We all went through this collective universal experience growing up, and went through the developmental stages, and looking at it now, able to look at it now and see it for what it was, and not place blame, and truly move through that is what I think is so important. I look at, if we're carrying our emotions surrounding the experiences, if we're carrying those around with us, it reminds me of like a wet blanket. You know how heavy a wet blanket is, and we're carrying it everywhere we go, and it's not working. It's not working.
Yeah.
And yes,
It doesn't serve us to do that.
it does not serve us.
I had dinner with my father a couple of weeks ago to celebrate his birthday. And it was just him and I. It was so great. And he expressed the regret of not being, I wish I was a better father. I wish I spent time. And I was like, Dad, you did the best you knew how. And that is what we have to say. No matter what kind of childhood we had, our parents did the best they knew how to do. And you know what? Sometimes it was really an effed up best that they knew how to do, but they just did what they knew how to do. And yeah, you're right. We have to heal from that because it was painful. Things are painful, but we have to just deal with it and say, okay, well, it's the past. It's got to stay there because it's not serving us in our present or our future. And it's blocking us, right? Because you have another workshop about these mind blocks that we get in moving past those thought patterns.
Yes. And, we don't know what their parents, how they brought them up. There's generations and generations and generations. And the other thing is, when we are kids, we're born as babies, we're born perfect, innocent, free. That's who we truly are. And then we have all these situations that happen and create, our life as we know it. And then we we make everything, we own everything as we're going along because we don't know what else to do with it. We just take it all in. And I'm talking about thoughts and, feelings, thoughts, and words. We grow up and we go out into our community and we find different things happening in our school, in our community, in our neighborhood, in our household. A lot of us were told, keep it a secret. Don't talk about what's going on in the house. And we were all, separatists, in so many ways. It's just amazing how much that affects us, and looking at it and just saying, okay, what can I release? What can I release? Yes, definitely.
That is so true. And it's so freeing to do that. And full transparency to everybody here, it's taken me 25 years to forgive myself of something I did. So it is a long journey. Healing is a long journey. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yes. And I have to say the same thing. Things have taken a long time, but one thing I like to remember is we are exactly where we need to be right now. We don't have to look back. We don't have to judge ourselves. And that's part of the dealing with the destructive thoughts, because I actually wrote down, I did a workshop yesterday and I was telling everybody how I wrote down one day all the negative thoughts that I had because and this is a year ago, okay? I consider myself a pretty positive person. And when I wrote down all the thoughts that were going through my head, oh, and you wore that outfit, and why'd you say that? And then, and so I wrote everything down. And you trick yourself. You either call it something, or ignore it, or write it down, or just be aware of what's coming through our head and what we're grabbing onto. Just let it go. Let it go. We don't have to take any of that. It's all a lie.
Yeah. Yeah. Our mind is like a mystery. I'm not sure why we attack ourselves that way, but we do. And maybe it is the programming that was in us, right? Because it kept us safe when we were younger in a way. We could go to another place or, say certain things and it would keep us safe. But yeah, so what are some things that happen in these workshops? What are some transformations you've seen?
Well, a lot of people just say they're so comfortable there because my first part of my job is to create a safe space for people, non-judgmental, nothing leaves, it's confidential, nothing leaves anywhere. Nothing, what happens on Zoom stays on Zoom or in a workshop. I'm just starting to do in-person workshops, but just people identifying their values and saying, oh my gosh, some people, the younger ones say, I didn't really know what my values were, which values, what is important to you? That's your values. Other people saying, wow, that I identified my values and yes, I just to see it in front of me, that really speaks to me. And I can look at my values lens through to my life, how's my life being affected? And when it's out of whack, it's usually because we're not living our values. We're not living our true self. And our values change over time, but basically they're the same. And that's the main thing I've heard about. And also releasing childhood memories, how writing is so important, journaling, whatever you want to call it, stream of consciousness, really getting it out. And that's the time that you are with yourself, your self time, your God time, your special time. Writing, people, it's like underrated, that's our what do I want to say, that's our connection. When we're writing, we're connecting to our real selves and processing things. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I want to point out. Just don't underestimate the power of journaling.
That's interesting. So do you think it's almost like an outlet, like, okay, we've recognized, it's there, daunting, but now we've written it out, we're reading it, we're saying, okay, this happened, it sucked, whatever, and then you can release. Is that what you think the process is?
Yes, that. And also, I really believe it's one of the times that we choose to be by ourselves and we're only focused on ourselves. And I think, I think of God being creativity, and I think of God being, our higher self and connecting with that. And I've written things and looked back on it and went, wow, I don't even remember writing that, and I look at it and it seems to be something that came from my higher self, speaking with me. So I just connecting with our real self.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing.
Yeah. And I think we need to take the time to do that. That's important. And like you said, values, like we don't know what we value sometimes, and we're just kind of chugging along at life. And sometimes I think we also place value in things, which isn't bad. That's fine. I mean, I like to have nice things. But the time with my family, like that's number one. So like we just have to say, okay, well, this is what I value. Well, I like to buy this stuff. That's why I value this. It's just like understanding what you value. And I totally get that. But taking the time to actually say, this is what I value. And this is what I want to work on.
Yes. And saying no to the model that says we should be hardworking women and we shouldn't have any life and we should just be go, 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 go. Being against that, do not buy into that, because that's a lie. That is a total lie. We need balance in our lives. We need to spend time. If we need to take a couple days off and just be by ourselves, I mean, that is important. Being with ourselves is being, the closest to our higher self and God.
Yeah. And I think just connecting with ourselves, like I just said, just away from all the noise and just taking a moment to just connect.
Yes.
I went to Glen Ivy, which, if nobody knows what that is, it's a spa. And, I was just so incredibly relaxed and just like taking it in and just away from everything. I was like, I'm going to have to get some caffeine to drive home because I am so relaxed. I might fall asleep driving home. But it was so necessary and it energizes. And I think that's so important. Connecting with ourselves and getting away, and even what you said about women getting this, women, it's like, oh, you got to stay home with your kids, you can't do anything else, this is your life. But now it's like, you better be doing it all. And it's like, we got to stand up and say, no, we don't have to fit, I call it Susie Homemaker, what's that, June Cleaver, Leave It to Beaver lifestyle. Like, we don't have to do it all.
No.
And I think when you have people look at their values, and they'll know, like, okay, I need to cut this out or that out.
Yes.
So that, because we only got one life and it's not that long.
Yes. And duties can be shared and delegated, and it's not, husband and wives, we need to work together as partners, not in these old roles from the 50s. That's ridiculous. And I also want to say something. When you were I love Glen Ivy, by the way. When I saw that post, I'm like, oh, I'm so jelly.
We need to plan a
yes. Oh, that would be so fun. So in addition to being relaxed, there's another element, and that's being in nature. And being in nature is really, really important, especially these days when we're all on electronics. And, I try to take a beach walk at least like 2 or 3 times a week, because I need those negative ions, and it heals me. It lifts me up. And, it's all very, very challenging with myself as well, to take that time and set it aside and connect with ourselves. But it's mandatory. It's as important as the air we breathe. It's so important, which is another thing that I thought of that's as important as the air we breathe, which is forgiveness, forgiving ourselves and forgiving everyone. And mainly, I found myself too, forgiving ourselves. Yes, forgiving ourselves.
That is so true. Why do you think we struggle with that?
I think just because we're in that whirlwind thought, and we think we have to believe the thoughts in our head and own them, instead of just putting them aside and just saying nope. Like, now I'm really good at that. I dip down every once in a while, but I am good. I do not listen to those thoughts, and when I do, I'm just like, nope, caught it. Because they can just bring us down. And if we have a weakness, it's always there. The weakness is always there. And we'll grab onto, oh yeah, they probably thought that because I thought that the other day myself. No, it's a lie. It's a lie. Be the bright shining star that you are.
That is really, really awesome. So let me ask you, do you have a niche or a certain type of person, woman, that you like to bring to your workshops, or that you see maybe are attracted to your workshops?
Girls and women that are serious about making changes in their life. That's really
what kind of changes?
Getting more clarification on their values, like we were talking about. Also, getting rid of the chatter, just helping them be it's all it boils down to helping them be the best that they can be, that they were meant to be. Where I feel like we were born to shine, and we got tarnished along the way, and let's shine us up and shine. Let's what am I
Yeah.
trying to say? You know,
Rub it all up and
rub it
get it all
yeah,
shiny
yeah,
again.
it all shines up. So
Put
we
some
can
oil on
yes,
it.
we can operate at the top, you know, top tier, what we were meant to do and what we came here to do.
Right, right. And I think with all those thoughts or whatever that we hold on to, that trauma from the past is not allowing us to
Mhm.
come and do what we are meant to do.
Exactly. Or it's also fear of failure too, you know, or of success, right?
Yeah.
So,
We don't
but
talk about that very much.
right, but no, a lot of it has to do with the fear of success and you know, are we playing too small? Are we playing too
Mm.
small? And if so, why? Why are we playing small? Why not just be all out, be who we are, you know, and not care what other people think? And that's another thing. I thought, you know, I don't really care much what people think, but then I was really monitoring myself and I thought, you know what? That you have been very, very into what other people think more than you think you are. And here's the thing, in the 80s, 90s, we had workshop facilitators and leaders and spiritual leaders and teachers, and we all kind of thought they were perfect and they kind of gave us that idea. Well, guess what? Nobody's perfect. And we all come here, we're all working on stuff, okay? We're the ones of us that are teaching it, we're just a couple steps ahead. That's all. We're still working on things all the
Right, right.
all the time. It's
And
not
and
perfect.
that's what's great because if you were working on things, you wouldn't be doing the workshops and helping other people. But life is a journey. It's a learning journey. It's not where we're just gonna one day know it all. We couldn't possibly know it all. But
No.
it's like, what can we just know to make ourselves, I say, 1% better every day,
Yes, yes, I like that.
and then to pull someone up along the way.
Yes,
How can our trauma, tragedy, whatever, pull somebody else up and
yes,
help them
and
get through that?
that's so good. And then that brings me to kindness. You know,
Mm.
since COVID, I'm not even going to go into giving that energy, but just seems like people have less patience. They, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And kindness is number one right now. It just is the top of the charts right now. To be kind to each other and to well, first to ourselves,
Yeah.
and then of course to others. But kindness, like you said, lift other people up. And we don't know when we compliment somebody. And I think it's really important for women to compliment each other.
Mm.
Like instead of just thinking it, to say it. I don't care
Mhm.
what I don't care if it's I love your top today or whatever it is. I think we need to feed each other that way as well because you just never know where that's going to take them.
Right, and you don't know what kind of day they're having, and
Right.
maybe that just is, like, the best thing they heard. I remember, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, I had wisdom teeth pulled, and my face was swollen, and I was not feeling well, and I was, at church teaching a Bible study, and this little, like, 8-year-old girl said, "You look so beautiful today," and I just was like, "Oh my gosh," and I just started crying. I was trying to hold it back because I didn't want her to think she hurt my feelings, but I was like, "Oh my gosh, I needed
Oh,
to hear that so much." So
oh,
it can
bless
even
your heart.
come from a little kid, right? But I think, yes, let's just be kind. Let's say things to each other that lift each other up.
Yes,
I love that because, sometimes I'm having a bad day and someone just says, "Oh my gosh, I love this and this." And you're just like, "Thank you.
yes,
Thank
yes.
you."
Not buying into the gossip, not buying into the gossip. It just, all these things bring our energy down. Being into the gossip, judging ourselves, judging others, that all their energy demotivators. And we want to lift people up. We want to think,
Yeah.
positive thoughts and say positive things and the words we use, watch the words we use too, because that's all, either lifting or
Tearing down.
tearing down. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very important. Even the words that we tell ourselves, right?
Yes.
The
Yes.
words that we say about ourselves. And when you hear somebody, call themselves stupid or dumb or they're an idiot, and don't say that about yourself.
No. No.
Don't say that.
No, or I used to say, I hate that. And my husband, he's so funny. He's like, let's take hate out of your vocabulary, right? I mean, that's a harsh word. Hate,
Yeah, it is a word.
ugly,
And there's
ugly.
a time and place for it,
Yeah,
but we don't want to use it as just like an everyday word.
no, 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 absolutely.
So, who might be somebody that would need you? What would they look like?
Well, after one of our groups, that empowerment group, one of the gals came up and said, I just had a feeling that I needed to deal with something from my childhood that's been kind of haunting me. And so we
Mhm.
started working together. So it could be that. It could be that you're a bright, shining star and you're not shining right now. And you just want to get the dust off, the tarnish. Or you want to clarify your values, or and usually when you clarify your values, you get another whole vision of yourself. Because, like, as an example, like if you're say your value is health and wellness, and you have a roommate that smokes and they throw their beer cans all over. I'm being really extreme, right? And I'm sure you'd be pretty miserable, right?
Yeah.
Because you did it because it was cheap rent, but you forego your value of health and wellness to save some money, and you're unhappy because you've got this roommate. All they do is smoke cigarettes and drink beer all day and throw beer cans. And you just notice that, oh, okay, my wealth, no wonder I'm so miserable. I was
Mm.
way out of whack. That's just a really extreme example of that. But just mostly people that want to make a change, and they know that they're more than what they're being right now.
And
Yep.
maybe they just don't know how to make that shift.
Yes, help make the shift. And so much of it has to do with, I don't like to use the word discipline, because the D word is kind of can be kind of scary, but it's like a muscle.
Yeah.
When you're loving yourself, you have mantras, you say things, you're just aware of the thoughts in your head, and you start loving yourself, you start setting boundaries, and you just, things change because you're making a difference. But my whole point is that it's like a habit. You just work on it. It's a muscle.
Yeah.
You
You
work on
got to
it.
keep it toned and work it up and
Yes,
work
yes,
it out.
yes. And it's not like something, oh my God, it's going to take me this long, years and years. It's possible. I've done it. That's why I'm helping other people. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, Jodie, what is it that you want to change in this world?
I want to lift the most people up that I can, through my work. I want to help people to shine and be who they are.
That's
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes.
So, how can they get a hold of you if they want to do these changes and get rid of that childhood trauma?
I have a website, www.transformyourlifeoc.com. And my phone number is 714-612-4660. Those are the two ways to get a hold of me, or through you, Jeanette, unless, if they didn't get that information.
I'll drop it down in the bottom
Okay.
on the video when it posts.
Okay.
Well, that's so
Thank
awesome,
you.
Jodie. Thank you so much for being here and coming and bringing your wisdom and your light to the women,
Yeah.
helping them to shine their light. Because sometimes it can be hard. We can be timid. We can hide it. But we have to step into it and shine it because somebody else needs us to do that.
Yes. Thank you so much for this interview, because it's very real. You are a great interviewer and
Oh, thank
fellow
you.
latchkey kid, who knew, right? So
Right.
thank you for having me. I really appreciate your format and your the way you are and who you are.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you too. And thank you guys all for being here. Make sure that you share this video so that other women can get help because we need to help a lot of women. We got a lot out there that need us.